Now here's ABC 15's Craig Fouhy.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Hanging out in Casino, Arizona, here at the CAZ Sportsbook in the CAZ Sports Bar. And Craig Fouhy is our guest. Coach, you got to just be loving what you watched yesterday with those two games.
Hey, they were fun games. Listen, I will say this. The Chiefs-Ravens was a tough one with 3 points scored in the second half. You know, it was like we've got these two potent offenses, and the Ravens decided for some reason to just let Lamar Jackson stand back there and throw the ball 37 times when they had the best rushing offense in the league. And then their defense, right? What happened to the Baltimore defense in the first half? They let 17 points be scored by the Chiefs. So, yeah, it was a crazy one. And then to see the 49ers and Lions with Brock Purdy and all the boys, Brandon Ayuk, come back in the second half. It was fun. Fun day yesterday.
You know, Coach, it's interesting. You watch the experienced teams, those teams that have been there and done that. And it just seems when you watch these games over the years, just, you know, whether they have the more talent or not, they tackle well, they block well, they don't make the mistakes, that they make plays when they have to, versus these teams are like the Flying Willenda brothers. They're going to come in and make it all happen. I mean, how much of that experience scenario is part of what gets these teams to Super Bowls?
I really think it's a lot. I mean, listen, you don't get the tight sphincter, you know, you don't all of a sudden choke. You know, you just play more relaxed because you know you have to play relaxed in order to do well. And it's my college coach used to call it a calm intensity, right? You know what you have to do, but you can't get so overhyped that you're trying too hard. And we've seen it year after year, play after play. Look at Washington in the national championship game against Michigan, right? They just tried so hard. They just choked themselves out of a competitive game. And so we see it all the time with these teams, a fumble, a taunting penalty, right? A decision to go for it on fourth and instead of kicking a field goal for points. And all those things make a difference. Lamar Jackson, I said yesterday morning, somebody asked me who I liked in that AFC championship. I said, I'll go with the Chiefs because I cannot bet against Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. And they're like, what about Lamar Jackson? I'm like, he hasn't done anything in the playoffs. I mean, he's regular season Lamar, right? So I just felt going into that one that I just trusted the Chiefs more than I trusted the Ravens.
I'm with you on that 100%, Coach. All right, so you know Manooch writes these questions.
Thank you.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, so here we go.
Thanks for the love, fellas.
Little factor, Fouhy. The 49ers, even though they were an early favorite, they will have to beat a Chiefs team that has the majority of the experience with head coach Andy Reid and quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Fact or Fouhy?
By the way, Fouhy, it's down to -1.
Yes.
To the night. It was 2.5.
Is it now bet down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down to -1.
Opened at 2.5, then it was 2 late last night, and now it's down to 1, huh? Yeah. Listen, I said it just a minute ago. I'm not going to bet against Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, right? I just can't. I mean, as much as I'm a fan of Brock Purdy's and Brandon Ayuk, and I think the 49ers are a deep team offensively and defensively, have a ton of talent. It's hard to bet against Andy Reid. That guy is phenomenal. This is their 4th trip in 5 years. Their 6th straight AFC championship games. I mean, if that's not dominant, you can say what you want about Bill Belichick, but where's Andy Reid in that conversation? Sure. Holy cow, this guy has got he's got the Chiefs playing so darn well. So I don't know if I can go in saying, you know, go San Francisco in this one. I think they're going to beat them by 1. I mean, it's tough. The way they came back yesterday was impressive in the second half, but I find it hard to bet against Kansas City.
Coach, let me throw this out at you. Mount Rushmore of coaches. You got 4. Do you build? You expand that mountain to 5? Where does Andy Reid fit in there as far as the Mount Rushmore of head coaches?
Well, I'll tell you what, he's got to be up to the top. I mean, he has been so phenomenal here in Kansas City. He won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia. I mean, the guy can coach. He knows what he's doing. He coached once at NAU way back in the day. He's got some guys that he trusts, and my closest buddy, best man in my wedding, coaches on Andy's staff, and he said there's not a better head coach in the NFL.
Wow.
All right, number 2, and speaking of Andy Reid, he outcoached the Ravens defense and took control of the game early and never looked back. Fact or Fouhy?
That's a fact, and I will say this, and we were talking about it yesterday in here in the sports office, just how he came out with that quick hitting game, and I love that. I mean, they just pop. Didn't take a lot of time. They were doing the quick hitting run plays with Pacheco and hitting the holes quickly. Pat Mahomes was getting the ball out fast, and I love the way they came out of the gates with just the quick hitting stuff, not letting the Ravens kind of figure it out, because Ravens have pretty good defense, right? But they just could not figure out the quick hitting stuff that Andy came out with. So I was impressed with all of that, with the scheme and the way they came out with that quick hitting intensity.
All right, one more football. 49ers QB Brock Purdy leading the comeback for the Niners over the Lions with his poise and 3 crucial runs on third down conversions. Fact or Fouhy?
You know what? I will say fact, but it is so hard to ignore Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel,
Sure.
Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle.
Yep.
I mean, come on. I mean, these guys are phenomenal, right? But yeah, Brock's got a great ability to navigate a game and figure it out. And he didn't seem phased at all by the first half and what didn't happen for them. You know, they're down 24-7 at halftime, and he didn't look like he was down in the dumps when he came out or anything. So I'll give him credit because, you know, the offense goes as the quarterback goes, and the quarterback takes all the blame when you lose, and he gets a lot of the credit when you win. So I'll say fact to that one.
All right, Coach, question number 4. After 2 losses in a row, the Suns need to figure out how to play defense if they have any kind of a chance to win the Western Conference. Fact or Fouhy?
Well, that's a tough question because I'm going to say this. They might have to learn how to play offense in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
exactly.
They scored 4 points in the final 10 minutes of that game last night. They went over 8 minutes without a bucket in the fourth quarter. So you need to play some defense. That's a fact. Now, Frank Vogel's a defensive guru, right?
Supposedly.
So allegedly, right?
Yeah.
So what's Frank Vogel bringing to the table right now is the big question. What's going on there with no defense? And I know they're missing a lot of pieces on the bench, like not in terms of guys that are hurt, but just nobody stepping up and taking a role. And so they got to figure it out by the trade deadline if they're going to move some people, try to find somebody to come in and play some defense and be an intimidator. They don't have that on this team.
1 minute.
All right.
It's a combination to me right now, scoring and defense.
Okay, fair enough. Last one, Devin Booker scored 152 points the last few games. That should more than qualify him as a reserve in the NBA All-Star game. Fact or Fouhy?
Yeah, that's a fact. I think he will be. Listen, it's too bad there's so few positions in an NBA All-Star game, but the way Book's played with 46 points, 62 points, 42 points, 52, it's phenomenal. And obviously the NBA Western Conference Player of the Week again for him. But I think he'll be there as he has in the past.
All right. Always good, pal, when we catch up with you. Another sterling edition of Fact or Fouhy.
Way to handle those questions,
All on
Coach.
Manooch.
Thank you, sir.
It's all about Manooch. All right, guys. See ya.
See you. There you go. Great Fouhy, ABC 15 sports director. He is presented by Twin Peaks, your football and now college basketball headquarters as well. Make it a Twin Peaks weekend.
Hey, I want to let you know about the G2G protein bars, and if you tried all of them out there, then you're missing out because this is the one you want to try. Not your average stale off-the-shelf protein bar. These are fantastic. There are 8 flavors, including my personal favorite, peanut butter banana chocolate. How about that one, Jimmy? But what makes these bars so delicious is that they're fresh, no preservatives, and they're stored in the fridge. Now, I can pack one lunch, my golf bag and my lunch bag for training all the quarterbacks and making all those things happen, having them readily available. So check them out in the refrigerated section at Costco or your G2Gbar.com. Once again, G2Gbar.com. Get one today, G2Gbar.com, and you're going to love it. It's not stale, it's fresh, and it's good for you.
All right, everybody. Coming up, it'll be our football at 50. And Casey from the AZ Sportsbook is going to join us. We will look back at the weekend's games and get the